What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Strange Planet Podcast. And as the 46th season of America has now come to a close, the 47th has now just began, and it's already a shit show. We've gone from pardoning most of the January 6th insurrectionists to whatever reason renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, which only led me to believe if we're going to start renaming stuff, should we just rename Air Force One Con Air? I mean, it's kind of the same thing, right? but all that aside, it's already a shit show and it hasn't even been half a week. So it's A to Z. And I hate to say it, it seems like a lot of the promises that were already, told are not going to happen. And also, I guess to throw another fact into the puzzle here, we're out of the TPP. The Paris Climate Accord we're out of it again. So for whatever reason, we are now one of 4 countries that are not in it. And the funny thing is, could you name the other 3? Anybody?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Well, it's, if you know the answer, you could say it, but if not, I have it in front of me. So basically, it's just America,
Iran, Yemen,
yep,
and
Yemen, and Libya.
Yeah.
Oh, even Saudi Arabia's not in there? That's funny.
Nope. Saudi Arabia's in they're actually in it. Yeah. And so is Afghanistan. So is North Korea. So is Russia. But go figure, we are now not, for whatever reason.
Right. And that's just a shame because of all the work that went in, not only from the Obama administration, but also from all of the countries across the globe who have different interests, but they all have the same interest in preventing the planet's demise through climate change. And so coming together and agreeing on a framework for reducing greenhouse gas emissions was the result of years of intense work by diplomats.
Right.
To try to form a consensus about how to combat climate change. And now we're just throwing it out the window yet again. And it's yet another reason that other countries will find the U.S. to be a less reliable partner if we can just rip up an agreement just because every 4 years. That's not a reliable partner. And countries that have been committed to doing this,
shows instability.
Part of the agreement is, you share some of the, because it's not easy. It's costly. At least at first, it doesn't cost you your planet, but it's something that we need to do, and it takes a collective effort and collective agreement
globally.
And we're just walking away. But that is, it's going to have a long-term impact. Countries aren't going to trust us, but the immediate impact of the Trump presidency is that I believe our country is no longer the democratic republic that we used to enjoy. I know that a few weeks ago, we talked about the term oligarchy, and I kind of pushed back on that term because I wanted to be sure that if we were going to reclassify our country, that there would be an accurate basis for it, that there would be some, signs where, we passed the point of no return. And unfortunately, this week, I recognize that, as Trump took the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to know the reasons why I changed my mind?
I would love to.
I can guess on a few of them, and let me see if I can get a couple at least.
Okay.
There is the getting of, receiving, from the former president, that so on and so forth, and you are now the president. He turned around and then started bashing Joe Biden right there. Not, I'm going to do good president for the people, and I'm going to do this and that. I think that was the first red flag. mean, the second red flag probably would have been all the businessmen
All
or
the tech.
multi-billion
Yeah.
dollar people that were just sitting in the front row on
Musk and
stage.
yep, Musk and
The the
freaking the
gruesome
Facebook
foursome
dickhead.
so
Yeah.
far. So that would be red flag number 2. And then red flag number 3 for me would have to have been Elon Musk doing a Zeke Heil twice. Not once,
You ain't kidding too.
but twice. Once to the front and once to the back, just to make sure they got it too. And
Okay,
I say Zeke Heil, he may say, "Oh, I was giving my heart out to them." When does your heart go? It's just,
okay.
I'm sorry.
I think one of the biggest things he's going to bring up is the what do you call it? Crypto. His new
There's
crypto
that
coin.
too.
Sure. Well, I'll get to that. But about the Nazi salute, right? So it's very hard to accidentally do that gesture. Now, when most people think of the Nazi salute, they just think of someone with their hand straight out, up in the air, right? He did actually what's, known as the formal
Zeke
Nazi
Heil.
salute, where you
Zeke
put your
Heil.
hand on your heart first
Then do
and
it.
then extend your arm. And that was reserved for, Nazi ceremonies, like formal ceremonies. And he chose to do that version, which is 2 steps, not one. So, and he did it twice. And so
The
it's
first
not
one
like
is
it's not
so much bigger.
he
Oof.
can't say that he was like waving to people, like he turned around, there was like a flag behind him or something.
Right.
It's like, so you're waving hi to a flag,
Right. Like don't bullshit us.
like he knew what he was doing, and coupled with his other like racist rhetoric and shit like that. I mean, it's no secret. Like it is what it is.
Oh yeah.
And so the other major piece of information that convinced me that our country is now an oligarchy is the fact that for the probably the first time in his life, Trump is actually a billionaire. That is something that I thought I'd never say, because I know he plays a billionaire on TV. But he doesn't actually come across as someone who has a lot of money, because he's always hawking shit. He's always,
Pursuing people.
trying to, not pay bills. And I think he still owes the city of New York a bunch of money for the security that they had to pay when he lived in Trump Tower. So, but the damning part about this is that Trump, 2 days before his presidency, released his own meme coin, his own meme crypto coin, and he owned 80% of it, and he announced this coin to a group of private investors, not the general public at first, to a group of private investors, who some of them we may know, some of them we may not know. A large part of crypto is anonymity. So you can track transactions back to certain wallets, but you don't actually necessarily know who owns those wallets.
Right.
And so Trump released this coin, and he sold a bunch of it to certain people that he invited. And then he turns around and goes on his X page and advertises it to the public. Okay. That coin soared because it's right before he takes office, and he's at the height of his popularity. Everyone's excited for Trump. Everyone wants to support him. Well, not everyone, but
I was gonna say mainly his supporters, like anybody else.
So lots of money poured into there. At one point it had an $80 billion market cap. And at that point, Trump. And this was the eve before he took the oath of office.
Did all the
He
destruction, I just said.
sold, he sold, or if you want to use a investment term, dumped a whole bunch of money that netted him $10 billion. Okay. So in one day, he made $10 billion. I guarantee
Tax free.
I'm willing to bet all of my money. I don't have $10 billion, but I'm willing to bet all of my money that he was never a billionaire in his life before the eve of his presidency.
I agree with you there.
And that is the number one sort of indicator that we are now an oligarchy, because he was able to use the power of the presidency to enrich himself to such a massive degree. He has the support of the world's three richest people: Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and
Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. And collectively, they control the flow of goods and information, not only in this country, but across the globe. And so those are the people that are now in charge. If they weren't in charge before, they didn't really have
Any
political
pull.
power
Right.
to, they had political influence.
Right. And of course, contributions, but
Right. There
yeah.
was influence, but now it's pretty clear that, they each openly paid $1 million for Trump's inaugural committee,
hmm
right? Or, his inauguration, right? And, they sat, up front at his inauguration. And now with this crypto, now a lot of people are going to be thrown off by the fact that he made $10 billion, which is fucking ridiculous that he was able to do that.
That's what happens when you get a lot of
And just like completely inappropriate to use the advent of you becoming our nation's president as an opportunity to start selling your meme coin. By the way, um, on the eve of his presidency, so 2 days before his presidency, he released his own coin. One day before his presidency, the eve of his presidency, when he sold all that to make his $10 billion, he also launched the Melania coin.
Oh my God.
Like, it's just shameless at this point.
Yeah.
And that raised billions of dollars. So, like that just like fundamentally changed this country in ways that people are only going to realize years later.
Right.
Because now when people can see that they can use the power of the presidency to enrich themselves, like, of course, like you saw, like, politicians, enriching themselves by, you know, writing books because people are interested in things that they have to say. Obama became very rich, not a billionaire, nowhere near that, but he sold a lot of books when he became senator, and again when he became president. He waited until he was leaving the presidency to write another book. Obviously, he was very busy, but so we had this scandal with the Supreme Court justices. Um,
Oh God.
I mean, obviously, taking trips and getting cars and
Bribes.
stuff like that. Um, that's bad, but the Supreme Court is in on it too, because they basically said that there's nothing we can do about this.
They allowed it.
We can't prosecute a sitting president. We can't prosecute him after He leaves office for official acts that he took as president, even if he abused his power for his own personal gain.
Which is probably going to see a lot more of that coming up.
And I want to make it clear that, even though I want to make it clear, unlike my picture, I want to make it clear that yes, he made $10 billion, but I think the question that needs to be asked, and we might not find the answer to, is where did that money come from? Because yes, it could have came from general public, but remember, he also sold a lot of coins to private investors. And do we know some of them? Maybe,
Any of them?
maybe not.
Yeah.
But he sold these coins to private investors, and it's a way, an easy way to run a pay to play scheme.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this crypto coin that I own 80% of, right? I own 80% of this crypto coin. So, oh, you want something? You want me to use my power as the president to do something? How about you buy $1 million worth of Trump coin, right? They go and buy $1 million worth of Trump coin. Now, the way crypto works is that anyone can open the way crypto works is that anyone can open up a wallet to hold cryptocurrency. And you can have as many wallets as you want. You can just get a randomized address that's just a sequence of letters and numbers, and that's your address. And you can open up, like I said, as many as you want. Now, the way that it would work is that you could just say, well, okay, Mr. Trump, here's my crypto address that I just opened for you. As you can see, what crypto is very good at doing is being able to track transactions. That's what it is. It stores transactions digitally, and those transactions are verified. But let me not bore you. So basically, he is able to verify that payments were made in purchasing this coin. And so in exchange, he can use the power of his presidency to help them.
Yeah.
And essentially, that is like a techno oligarchy.
Yeah.
Um,
Digital oligarchy.
where, you just open up a coin, and I'm telling you, this is going to fundamentally change our country. Why wouldn't you, as someone running for president now, why wouldn't you just launch your own coin now and just collect money anonymously from
Yeah. Like,
not only Americans, but like foreign, not only Americans, but foreign individuals who may or may not have our best interests at heart. And there's really no way of tracking it. You can track the transactions, but you don't really know who the
ooh.
people are behind those transactions. Um, and so, I mean, there's nothing really to stop um, people from all over the world just putting money into this Trump coin.
Pretty much.
And and now, if you want the Department of Justice to investigate it, I mean, he owns the Department of Justice now, the FBI, the SEC. They're not going to look into it.
Nope.
And even if they did and found that he laundered basically $10 billion,
Yeah. That's what you're going to
it's
get.
too late. You
Yeah.
can't prosecute him
Yeah.
because he's the president.
He's
You
immune
can't
now.
prosecute
Yeah.
him.
Apparently.
So I hope this country knows what it's done. It's let this dumb, grifty fuck steal or use the power of the presidency. Well, I want to hold on. Let me scratch that.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
They let this dumb, grifty fuck used the power of the presidency to make himself a billionaire.
Yeah, basically. And I'll tell you one thing. You said this was what really made you think that America has now switched to the oligarchy and the democracy is now dead as we know it. But you know what the first step was, I think? When he was on that campaign trail and Elon Musk had that, $1 million sweepstakes, basically saying, "Oh, if you register, I'll give you $1 million. Vote for Trump." But you know what I mean? So like that
Oh
to
yeah, I
me, I
mean,
don't know how that was
well,
legal to this day. Like I don't get that.
Was it $1 million or was it
Yeah,
less?
he
yeah, he
claimed it
was.
was pulled by random.
It,
That's what he
it was
claimed.
no. So that's what he claimed. He called it a lottery when he was advertising it. But then when they went to court, he said, "No, actually, the winner is pre-selected. We already know who's gonna win. So don't. It's not a lottery."
But like you've never seen that throughout history. Like how is that legal? I don't get that.
They
Like
Well,
can't.
it wouldn't be legal except for the fact that he pre-selected the winner.
but the whole idea that you don't see how that basically
I
just
mean, I think
what?
it's grossly unethical.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Um,
but enough of it.
that's why I'm telling you this
Yeah,
country's a circus, man. I hate to, it really is. You
unethical
can't
doesn't
have shit like
necessarily
that
mean
and me take it
illegal.
serious.
right. I mean, it's not necessarily illegal for Trump to launch his own meme coin the eve of his presidency to capitalize on the fact that he's becoming president. And a lot of people like he's the most popular person in the country, just for the fact that people are talking about him because he's becoming president. And to take advantage of that opportunity to enrich yourself to the tune of $10 billion, and believe me, there's more coming.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
There's more coming. Um, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Just the tip,
He,
ladies
now,
and
now,
gentlemen.
now, now, now. I wanna be also clear about something. Before Biden left office, he, well, unfortunately, I don't blame him for this. It's what he had to do because, as you saw at his inaugural address,
Right after
he
him.
is
Yeah.
vengeful. He is a vengeful person, and so Biden pardoned a bunch of people, including members of his family. So you know that Trump has no problem with pardoning members of his family that are going to help him enrich the family in perpetuity. So they can break whatever laws they want now,
Yeah, basically.
whatever laws they want now, in furtherance of enriching his family.
We've never seen this to this level in this country in like American
I,
history.
I'm telling you, Donald Trump, by the end of his presidency, is going to be the richest man in the world.
You think he'll take Musk? I don't know because I feel
I
like he'll be
He
the first
will. He
trillionaire.
will.
You really
Ooh.
think so?
He
Wow.
will. Yes. And I don't think
American
we're
shit
going
show.
to I don't think we're going to know this. We may not know right away, but he is going to leave his family the greatest fortune the world has ever seen. I'm not joking. And there's nothing we can do about it because they'll be pardoned.
Yeah, you're right. Because he's just gonna. Yeah, you're right. Because of the
And, wa-
pardoning.
and watch Barron
Wow.
spend the shit out of it.
Because my next question
I
was about
mean,
to
he
say,
he
is there
can't
anything
they're gonna have so much money that he's not gonna be able to spend all of it.
God.
American shit show at its
Oh,
finest? I'll tell you that.
I'm buying this
Now,
hotel.
now, now,
They're
what's going
making
to be
some
funny?
rules about
What's going to
cool.
be, well, if you can find anything funny about this, what's going to be funny is when Donald Trump starts creeping up on that Forbes list. What's going to be funny is when Donald Trump starts creeping up at that Forbes list of billionaires and Elon Musk is looking behind him and saying, wait a minute. I don't want to lose my spot. But unfortunately, that's probably what's going to happen. I'm willing to bet by the end of his presidency, he's going to be, if the Forbes list even, because Forbes is in the tank for Trump completely. And anytime you see a news story online for Forbes, it's like pro-Trump or anti-Democrat.
So
Um,
basically, go on, go on.
so yeah, if they do publish the actual list of the world's richest people, Donald Trump is going to make it to the top of the list when before he fell off the fucking Forbes list. Okay. He
Wow.
fell off the Forbes list.
So basically, there's a lot of firsts here for America because we have our first convicted felon that is now president, and now he's going to be stupid rich. So,
And
I have
also he's vengeful.
yeah,
I have one more thing to add.
go ahead.
He's also very stupid to everyone's detriment, and I'll tell you why. What did he say he went on the election? It was
Groceries.
Groceries. He said he was going to make them cheaper.
He's not going to do it.
His stupid ass with these 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, they're going to make all the groceries more expensive.
Especially if he does that immigration thing too.
Well, it's going to be horrible.
Oh no, it's already begun. They announced.
They did. You're right. Actually,
they announced that targeted immigration raids have begun. Now, does this remind you of a scenario when people of a certain ethnic group are getting rounded up and taken somewhere?
Yep, to camps.
We had some of that in Trump's last administration. We had camps, and remember the kids in cages.
Cages, oh yeah.
It's pretty disgusting what he's done to this
separating women with their children.
But now it's going to be at a much larger scale and more aggressive because he has no accountability.
Nope.
Right.
None.
The Supreme Court has said we're not going to touch him.
Yeah. Not only that, the DOJ is basically in his back pocket. He's got the House and the Senate, to do his bidding as well. He's got it made. He's got all branches of government under his thumb.
Well, imagine that you just made $10 billion.
Tax rate.
You escaped. Well, he'll supposedly have to pay taxes on it, but who knows? He doesn't have to. If he breaks the law, who cares?
Yeah,
he's not going to jail. Oh, yeah. So, or he could give it to Eric or whatever.
Never. It'll all go to Barron before Eric sees a dime.
But
old Brett Eric.
There is nothing stopping Trump from getting away with the shit.
So basically, all of us right now, whether you're on board with this clown or not, we're all basically in a ship, and it's slowly sailing. And at the end of this river is a waterfall, and basically, we're just gonna sail on the ship. And the ones that like us, that are not on board with this at all, so much for land of the free. We have nothing that we can do about it. So we're just gonna have to sit on this ship until it goes off, and then what?
I mean, look, we had in Nazi Germany, we had corporations partnering with Adolf Hitler. Volkswagen, for instance. Will we see a Tesla partner with President Trump?
Of course.
Amazon basically owns all the goods and shit that we purchase, and it's hard to get away from. I guess, social media wise, Elon Musk controls a lot of the thought.
What you're reading or seeing on there.
Right. And
same thing with Facebook, with Zuckerberg, yeah.
Right.
And that includes Instagram too.
So things are going to happen in this country, and we're not going to know about it.
Right.
We're not going to know about it, and we're going to be brainwashed to either ignore or, just look the other way, or to feel even pleasant about it.
They'll give some lame excuse anyway, and doesn't even have to be a goodly constructed one. They'll brush it off like everything else.
No, I mean, just look at what social media has already done to people.
Right.
Misinformation up the wazoo.
Right. And it's misinformation driven by algorithms that
A
feed
trigger.
people, that trigger their emotions,
Mm-hmm.
because triggering people's emotions gets them to stay on the platform longer.
It's a
And
scheme, the
so they
whole
can
thing.
sell them more ads.
Yeah, it's just a scheme.
So that's all they care about is selling the ads. That's how they monetize Facebook, right? So as long as you stay on the platform, how do we get them to stay on the platform? We trigger their emotions.
Yeah, piss them off, have them
And
fight with each other.
so they've come up with this ecosystem where they're just feeding people negative, toxic information that preys on people's fears. And that's why there's this rise in anti-immigrant sentiment, even though, we have a relatively stable economy compared to the rest of the world. People are saying like, oh, our economy's horrible. Well, it did better than most of the world. And you don't see these kinds of things happening in other countries. Um, but it you also have, Hitler obviously rounding up Jewish people, um, and sending them to concentration camps. Obviously, that's something that Trump is undertaking with respect to um, people of Hispanic descent. You might not call them concentration camps, but essentially that's what they are. I mean,
Yeah,
Hitler blamed Jews for the economic woes of Germany and got a whole bunch of anti-Jewish sentiment, and people felt good about it. Like you look at those Nazi rallies and people felt good about it. And you hear all these Trump supporters who are cheering like violent rhetoric against immigrants. People like as a history major, I used to like read about Nazi Germany and wonder like what was it like? You
Mm.
know,
yeah,
how
right.
did people, come to this place where they could act like that in
This is
mass,
how.
like collectively? And we're seeing it unfold, unfortunately, in this country
Yep,
today.
it's very true. I'm going to flip the topic real quick, but there's one thing I do want to bring up. And you know what that is? We did a couple of months back, we did an episode, remember, based upon greed and the fact that could greed not only destroy the country, but, even other countries if, the greed gets out of control. Could that not only A, happen here, but B, could there be an economic collapse because of the level of greed coming from all these billionaires now running the country? Like, could that actually happen? I think it's possible.
Well, yeah, sure. Of course, it's possible.
Hmm.
Obviously, you can only take so much until the people can't take it anymore.
Mm.
We're getting there, I feel like,
Um,
though.
but I mean, these tech billionaires and Amazon, they're not entirely dependent on the United States
That's
for
true
their
too.
income. Sure, we're large consumer market, but they are
Much larger.
global.
That's
They are
global.
global.
You're right.
And so, you know, and God forbid Elon Musk also gets TikTok, which I have mixed feelings about the ban. Like I personally don't think government should ban social media apps, even if they're bad for
Disastrous.
you. Like I
Yeah.
like there are security concerns, obviously, because it's a Chinese company. But Trump takes that and says, "Oh well, United States is entitled to half of TikTok."
Huh?
How? Like
Yeah. I don't
so
get that.
this is like a tech version of Hitler. Yes, the United like Germany is entitled to this land and that land and this land. And Trump does some of that too with like Greenland and the
Yep.
Panama Canal and
Canada.
um
Yeah,
right. So
whatever the fuck
like
that meant.
but now there's also like this digital entire entitlement that like the United States is entitled to take over TikTok.
Right? Or better yet, what if you
What?
flipped? Yeah, but then again, what if you flipped it and say China was like, well, you know what? Why don't we own half of Amazon? And they say the same thing. Like it's the same, just
I
flipping the
mean,
countries. Like it's just stupid. Like
no, but I mean, th- like we probably think that was ridiculous if China said that, but
right, right.
somehow Trump says that and it's normal. Um,
Because he's the king of abnormal.
Yep. And lies.
no, and it's just going to fundamentally change our country, um, in really, unfortunately negative ways that,
We will not recover from. I can definitely see the country changing for the future. Maybe
Yeah.
not in a good way, maybe in a good way. We'll see. If he goes for a third term, which I guarantee he's going to, and he makes it in,
I
you're going
mean,
to see
he's
a whole new.
old. He doesn't need to.
He really
He
doesn't
doesn't
need
need
to.
to.
He
Listen,
is. He may become the richest person in the world, but he's always going to be one of the greediest persons in the world.
That's
right.
big facts.
But you don't think God King Trump will transfer his
Power to the
uh
kids.
yeah.
Um,
That's
definitely don't see
pretty
Eric
dumb.
getting it.
Like,
I know that
Go ahead, Donald Jr.
Donald
Take the
Jr. may get
reins.
it, or he's grooming Barron.
Yeah, but
yeah,
Barron's too young for
he's
many,
way
many
too young.
years.
Yeah, he can't do
So
it.
one of the most ridiculous things that Trump is gonna put in place. You guys heard of the External Revenue Service?
I briefly read about this yesterday, but I don't know all the details. So yeah, you can enlighten us here.
I mean,
What?
I don't know all the details either, but essentially, he probably doesn't even know all the details.
Yeah, that
But
right.
essentially, and by the way, this shit is that we're getting now is like, I don't know if it was in Project 2025, but this shit is like a lot worse now that
Wow.
it's fucking here. But like basically set up a government agency to take money from other countries.
Wow.
Like you know how the IRS collects money from citizens, through consent of the governed. Um, we have laws here where, that are passed by a Congress, and so it's ruled by consent of the governed. I mean, sort of. Not so sure I believe in that anymore.
Yeah,
But
right.
but he is creating an agency which is basically trying to impose American will to take money away from other countries, to just take it.
It's a
Um,
circus.
so it's more like economic conquest. Like, you know, I don't want to keep going back to Hitler, but Hitler was focused on conquering territory. In the 21st century, if you conquer tech industries, if you conquer, um, money, if you conquer crypto, that is the way to grow power.
Basically.
And I mean, is this what he meant by make America great again? Make it, because America, I mean, you could argue that America was an empire, of sorts, because it had territories in a lot of places. Um, but that was more of a traditional empire. Um, but now this is more of a techno or tech empire. Um,
So,
like there are going to be some people who like that idea, and that idea is going to be, propagandized to us.
Oh, of course.
Um,
Like everything else.
and the thing about propaganda is you don't necessarily know you're being propagandized to. Like it's going to be very difficult to see, because social media is addictive. That's why I don't really engage with it that much. I don't go on TikTok. stay off of things like that.
Me too, for the most
And
part.
I have it just, in case someone sends me something and they beg me to see it. But otherwise, I don't use that shit because I know that it has the effect of polluting your mind. Once the algorithm learns about you, it can attach to you and keep sending you things that trigger your emotions and change the person that you are.
Hmm.
That
So,
that's pretty
That,
deep.
that is
so
pretty deep, but
like,
that's true
oh,
too.
and that's what happened to a lot of people in this country.
Yeah, I mean, even if not the world, and in that case, yeah.
Yeah.
Another
Um,
really scary fact that just I meant to say this in the beginning and I just thought of it now instead. You remember how Biden made I don't remember the name, but he made it so anyone that needs insulin, it was capped at like $25 or something like that. It was much
right,
cheaper.
right.
Well, guess what? Whether you're a fan of Trump or not, that's gone. Just like that. So guess what? It's not $25 anymore. God knows what it's going to be, but likely more than $25. So
Hmm.
nothing like the for-profit healthcare system that won't be fixed anytime soon either. So yeah, good job, MAGA, right?
Well, I mean, Biden
Shithole.
did have a fix for that specific scenario,
Well, we did,
but
but it's not there anymore. Yeah,
but
just like that.
again, when you change policies like that, people can't rely on it. Before with the Paris Accord, for climate change, our partners can't rely on us. Now citizens and can't rely on, you know, my insulin's $25 today. It could be 2,500 tomorrow,
Yeah, who knows?
based on who the president is.
Yep.
It's a shit show, man. It
And how
really
much
is.
money he has invested in it.
Right. And it just, there's no
Or
stability.
or who knows if they donated to his crypto coin. Who knows?
Yeah. You'll never know. That's
There's
the
no
The
way
sad
to
part.
tell,
the
and
ultimate
there's no way to
grift.
hold. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
for
like
real.
like I'm he pulled off the biggest con in history, and
Yep.
the American people allowed it.
Yeah, they
And
voted
not
for
even that they allowed it.
it.
He did it. He did it under their noses. There was no word of this until he made it public.
I mean, to tell you the truth, I think one thing a lot of the people, and I'm sure are thinking and wondering and hoping for at least, is like, obviously, there's not really a damn thing any of us can do.
No, there
But
is,
that was
but
what I'm getting at now. I think the people want to know what, if anything, what can they do to fight back?
Please don't say vote.
well, that was what we could have done before this
Yeah, we
happened.
already
Now it's
failed
too
that.
fucking late.
Yeah, we
Well,
failed
that's all
that.
right. That's the thing.
Um,
All of us who were on this side of the fence saying this is all a danger, we voted. It's those
yep,
idiots.
I
It's
Yeah,
those
voted.
idiots
me too.
who just. It's like I have a couple of guys at work, young dudes, 20s, mid 20s, something like that. Well, I'm going to go for Trump. Why? Oh, because he's different.
Oh, yeah, he's a
That's
different
that's
way.
that's your explanation because he's different.
Yeah, right.
You don't realize who you're voting for, do you?
You don't
And
care
and,
about
and
you.
and that's the funny thing. You could sit there for hours trying to explain to these people why he would have been a bad choice. They're like, I'm going to vote for him anyway. I don't get people, man. I got flat
Well,
earthers that are voting for him because they think everything is a goddamn conspiracy.
right,
And again,
right. Thanks to
that's the
social
media.
media.
Exactly, that's the media's
Yeah.
problem for doing that. I mean,
Well, to tell you the truth, not for nothing, he's going to eat those words because, like Rook was saying earlier, this is going to have a ripple effect throughout history. There's a big chance that that kid will never be able to retire.
mm,
You know what I mean? So then whose fault is it? See, the problem is when that time arrives, this country's dumb enough to blame that sitting president at that time, but
yeah,
they're not even close to being aware that the fact that right now is what's causing
I,
that to
Trump,
happen
Trump,
then.
Trump
I,
will probably be gone from this earth before we realize the damage that he's done to this
Yeah,
country.
you're right. You're right. And then what? It's too late. Like,
only
then
hope.
what do we do?
He's not going to be held accountable.
No,
No,
he
he's
never
not.
will. If he ain't in jail yet and he's a convicted felon that is now the president of the free world, of what's left of it at least, I don't think it's going to be much free for much long.
Oh
Yeah,
But you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Then you wonder why though a lot of his minions have this like self-entitlement kind of thing. Because I guess they think because they voted for him that they get that too, but they don't. If they did half of what Trump's done, they'd be in prison by now. unless he pardons them,
Well,
of course.
they won't. Like, look at what they did. They trashed our capital, made it look like a third world country, threatened to hang the vice president, put their feet up on the speaker's desk,
But it was a
killed,
peaceful protest.
killed, killed
Some
at
cops.
least a few police officers,
Yeah.
like
Well, I said it's a circus,
and they get pardoned.
right? And what kind of message
Without
does that show?
without showing any contrition, like without saying, "Oh, we shouldn't have done that." Like, um, yeah, I mean,
They were rewarded. It feels like.
I'm sure they'll be handsomely rewarded for their
Yeah,
time served.
but that's the that's the scariest part of the whole thing is basically the way this shit show works now is you can storm the Capitol and trash it as long as you're supporting the Republican Party.
Yep.
That's what that means now, I guess. So they can do it next week if they want. It'll be okay. They
But
probably
why
won't
would
because,
they?
but
Why
yeah,
would
they
they?
probably won't
There's
because
nothing
he's
to
in there.
storm. I mean, they have the House, they have the Senate, they have the White House, they have the
Yeah,
Supreme Court, they have everything.
right. Well, you figure, say in 4 years' time.
There's nothing to protest against.
Yeah, well, not yet, but you know what I mean. But say in 4 years, you know what I mean, because in we all thought this election was going to be a shit show, which it was. But wait till 4 years from now comes, because now we live in this country where
I
apparently Republicans can't take losses. So, like, say the Democrat wins in 4 years, they're not going to accept those results. And then
of course
what?
not.
Yeah, and then what? You know what I mean? So, like,
Another January 6th.
the future of this country could be fucked. Put it that way.
Another
The
January
road we're
6th,
going.
another like why not, if you're a presidential candidate, why not just launch a meme coin?
Yeah, for real. You know what I mean? It's a
You're
fucking casino now.
you're running for a high office in the land. You're on a debate stage. Why not just sell your meme coin right on the debate stage? Like,
Yep.
this is going to change our country
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing,
in
man.
ways that will make it less uh less good. We'll just
Yeah.
say.
I'll tell you another thing though, too. Granted, all the crimes and stuff he's committed, I'm sure Bill Clinton's probably rolling his eyes right now because he got impeached for some bullshit compared to what he's going to do.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what he did, it doesn't even come close to what Trump's been doing. You know what I mean? And yet, you know what I mean? That's round and round we go. That's it. You know? All I know is I have very little hope.
This is just the
Future of
first
this
week or
country.
so.
Yeah,
of
imagine,
what's going on.
imagine next summer what'll happen by then. If like
I
it's
can't think that far
uncontrolled.
ahead. You know, we all just got to take it a day at a time.
That's all you can do.
Get through the
Yeah,
next. Oh,
at
I
least the
don't
next
even
2
want to
years,
count the
right?
days. Yeah, we have to get some form of political power to resist a total
But, like takeover.
exercise of Trump's power. But I just don't know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead, Mark.
It's scary at this point.
It is.
I knew it was going to get bad. I haven't realized how bad it was going to get. I mean,
Yeah.
I think one of the worst things that was happening is that we were saying, "Oh, go out! You need to vote. You need to vote. You need to, do your thing, make your voice heard, so on and so forth." This was going about the wrong way. He is a villain. He will always be a villain, no matter what he says are complete lies. That should have been the focus. To be like, look what you're dealing with. You're dealing with someone who has no public interest at all. All he cares about is himself and his money. He doesn't even really care about his own. He fakes like
You're
he
right.
does, but
You're right.
all he cares about is himself and making money for himself.
He really
So
doesn't
that should
give a
be a
shit
warning.
about his family.
That should be warning to all the Americans that have, voted for him, all the Americans who did not vote for him, all the people he is going to do business with in the present or the future. Because I bet some of those past people that he's done business with can tell a few stories. It's
For real.
It's almost like the last month we were in a blur of just like, did this really just happen? Because it didn't feel like it, but we have to wait for him to get in and fuck shit up, and he's already doing it.
Oh yeah.
I'm put it this way. I hate to say this because this is going to be like stirring up demons. What do you think is going to happen next? That's like the
I can't
question
even
of
call it
the question
anymore.
of the year,
I don't
even though
know,
it's only
man.
been the question of the week. What
Yeah.
will happen next? Who will he fire? Who will he try to fire?
Well, I think to
Who?
tell you the truth,
What world war will he start? Will we have
yeah,
Putin walking around New York City out of nowhere? I mean,
I actually think that the healthcare system is not even good. It's just going to be ignored. Remember, he had concepts. He's just not even going to look at that. If anything, he might
yeah,
try
I
to
mean,
get rid of Obamacare. That
yeah,
could be one thing.
watch us have another fucking pandemic.
But yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you another thing he did too. I think he took us out of the WHO too, or like he wanted to disassociate to it or something. Yeah.
He
So
doesn't
like,
like people telling him what to do.
yeah,
That's
regardless to
another
how right
problem.
they are too. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's like you become the president. Yes, the president doesn't know everything, regardless of who was the president. That's why
yeah,
he has advisors, people who've been in the business, of that whatever they do for X amount of time. To be like, hey, look, we've been doing this for a while. This is the situation. What do you think we should do? Usually, is their response. But no, they have to get they have to get the coloring book and the crayons and
yeah,
put it in front of Mr. Trump and be like, all right, Mr.
yeah.
Trump, this is a
For real though.
situation. Color the ones in that you want to die and keep the ones that you don't want colored out of it. It's just
If I were to say
it's
though,
that babyish. This has been the worst part of history in America
Oh, yeah.
so far.
So
if
here's how you know it's bad. Like, he got $10 billion.
Mm-hmm.
He dodged criminal prosecution.
Again.
He won an election, even though he had an insurrection. Like he
And
won in every possible way imaginable.
yeah.
Like he won at the Supreme Court. He's basically a king. Um,
I don't
and yet he still
why.
chose to make inaugural speeches bitching and moaning about January 6th, like and the
It's
election
terrible.
being stolen and
It's terrible.
like he is so petty. That just shows you that there's something psychologically wrong with him. He
yeah,
won in
Absolutely.
every single
I've
way,
been
His
calling him
and it's
Dementia
just not
Don.
enough. It's
his
not.
father fucked him up,
Yeah,
and it's
I've been
never going
calling
to
him Dementia
change.
Don because he doesn't live in the same reality we live in. That's for
Yeah,
sure. But I'll
yeah,
tell you
Well,
another thing,
it's not dementia. It's psychosis.
or it could
yeah.
be yeah, it could even just yeah, delusional.
He's a psychopath.
Yeah, no, you're 100% there, man. And Mark, answering your question, I think I know what he's going to destroy first. You know what it's
That,
going to know what's coming? The Department of Education. He wants to keep the people stupid. So this way he can just do what he wants and they'll be drilled to TikTok. You know
yep.
what I mean? Or they'll be drilled to social media and they'll just believe whatever it says. That's going to be, I guarantee he's going to try to do it. And guess what? Who's going to
No,
stop him?
I guarantee you
Just
that he
glad I
doesn't
don't
give
have
a fuck.
kids
He
right
doesn't
now.
give a fuck about
Won't
any of that shit now.
affect
He
me.
doesn't. He made his fortune. He became a real billionaire.
I just feel
Um,
like at the same time, though, could he?
I'm
No,
I'm
he
disappointed in you, Rook. I'm
can't.
disappointed in you for
Uh-oh.
uh,
the greatest grifter on the planet. I think he wants to become a trillionaire. I think he's going to do everything he
he
can to
might.
do so.
No, he might.
That's what's going to cause a
No,
feud
that's
between
what I was
them.
saying. Like my bet is he will become the world's richest person
Yeah,
by the end of
he's
his
going to push that
presidency.
needle as far as he can, for as long as he can,
Yeah, you probably, yeah, yeah.
until probably the day he dies. To be honest.
And it's funny because like he doesn't have a lot of time left, considering what is he going to be 80? I mean, he may live to be 150 at this fucking rate because douchebags last forever. But like the real thing is like,
A
you know what I
shadow
mean?
just appearing out of nowhere. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. Huge cloud. He just appears from the smoke.
Thanks for the distraction, but I mean, what there's no overseers to the overseers in this
No,
situation.
yeah, there's no limits apparently, and this
Yeah,
is a
and
very
I
dangerous thing to have.
hate to say it, but this is kind of why the Second Amendment is a thing for us to be able. No, you don't think so?
Nah. I mean, that is
Back in the day, when it was made, yeah, that was the idea. If things happened, you as a nation could get your Minutemen to get up and go
Well,
push
you figure there
for.
was no social media to brainwash the people then. There was no technology. I guess he does bring a point up there, but that ain't going to be the case now. You ain't
I
winning
mean,
against
do you
that.
need
You
to
know what I
do you
mean?
need to modernize it? Do we need to go back to like sense of morality? I mean, there is
You think that administration is going to do any of that?
no. I'm not
Yeah,
the
they don't
fuck
give
to
a
that
fuck about
administration. I'm talking
us.
about the American people. Nothing's going to change with this unless the American people do so by a outrageous force of political voicing, or worse, by force. Period. But it's gonna take a breaking point, and I don't even think we're close to that yet.
No,
No,
all I gotta
we're
say is this
not.
is going to be a shit show for the next 4 years. Hopefully two, and then maybe they can.
Idiocracy has never been closer.
It's here. It's
No,
not
no, no.
even.
We're close. We're close. We're waiting
I
for
feel
the
like it's
fart movie.
here.
We're waiting for the fart movies and for the Walmart that's the size of 3 states.
Well, we have people investing in a crypto called fart coin. So
Yeah, so it's yep. Yeah, so we're kind of there.
I can't. I can't.
What I know
Why?
is like I don't want to hear the word democracy anymore, unfortunately, because we aren't in it anymore. That's done.
yeah,
Until something is done,
our corporate media can pretend like we're still a democracy.
but we're
They can
not.
be like, "Oh, look at all the pomp and circumstance of the Trump inauguration. Oh, look, and there's this person. Oh, and like it's just fucking sick.
It
It's
is.
fucking
It's
sick.
like staged.
It's exactly. I bet that's exactly the sentiment of like the newspapers in Nazi Germany.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Back
like
then.
they just pretend like everything's normal.
Yep.
Um,
Just live your life. You know
you
what I mean?
know,
Nothing to see here.
right. Um, it's just unbelievable what we're about to go through, and a lot of people are unfortunately going to suffer.
Yep,
But
including his
Uh,
followers. His followers are going to take
His
it.
true,
fathers, especially in the suffer, because
Yeah, like they don't
there's
realize
the
how fucked they are yet, but
they're the
it's
ones
right?
that
gonna
he's
happen.
grifting.
They're too stupid to realize what he is going to do.
Yeah, because the only people benefiting from this are his cronies, his billionaire friends. I don't even know if his millionaire friends are going to benefit as much as his billionaire friends, and that's it. So if you're like a low class, middle class, if there is a middle class in this country anymore, Trump supporter wearing your stupid MAGA hat, guess what? You're gonna eventually. Well, I don't know. Actually, depends upon if the whole brain is there, but
Yeah,
I would think eventually you're gonna see that he don't give a fuck about you. But by then it'll be too late. We know it now, but
yeah.
hopefully within the next 4 years you'll wake up and see it. But
I don't know if they will though, because he's
yeah, I
gonna
don't think
come
they ever will. Some of them.
if for them, meaning like Trump, Musk, and all of them. Their excuses are just so benign and so just sweeping that it almost makes it acceptable. You know, one of Trump's, well, not Trump, one of Musk's response to the whole Zeke Heil thing was just like, "Oh, I can't believe people can't get over this Nazi thing. It's so old," or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, but it's just like
And why the fuck you doing it?
exactly, exactly.
Right?
If this whole Nazi thing is so played out or old, it's like, why the fuck are you doing it then?
Yeah,
There's no
exactly.
way. There's no way you're giving your heart out to people because fucking Taylor Swift. There you
Wow.
go. My heart out to you all. And if you don't want to do that because you're a dude, just be like this.
Yeah, just don't do
Oh, how
anything.
about this? Like,
Don't do
yo,
that.
there you go, man. Really, for real, for real. I feel you. You know what I'm saying? That's basically the same thing. Not this. What the hell is
Yeah.
that?
You
I
know
saw
what's
that and I froze for a second, like, no, I did not just see that.
Yeah, I
Did
had to
you did
look
it
twice
again?
too. I had to look twice too. I couldn't believe it. Trust me, I didn't watch much because it was making me sick. But like I
I
did
only caught the
unfortunately see
highlights. As soon
clips
as I
of that.
saw that, I'm like,
Yeah, the
okay, we
clips
got
is what I
we got a
saw.
podcast this week for sure.
Yeah. But like Jesus Christ, yeah, like I couldn't believe it. You know what's even more scarier? On Elon Musk's Twitter page, you know what he posted a picture of himself?
Oh my
not
god,
only
what?
not only trying to like support him doing that, but then like a couple of slides over he tried to put pictures of Obama, Hillary, and a bunch of other people doing it, but the difference is when they did it, they didn't they were waving to the people. They were like this, waving. They weren't doing the fucking Nazi. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you saw the
My
footage of
God,
that, they
Obama
were
doing the
waving.
Nazi.
That there's a big difference when you wave to somebody with one arm out and doing what he did. You know what I
What
mean?
was
Like it's
what
it's
was his
insane.
name? What was his name from fucking the Chappelle show? The black KKK member who was blind.
Oh, Clayton Bigsby.
Clayton Bigsby, yeah.
Yeah, Clayton Bigsby.
What, Obama's Clayton Bigsby all of a sudden?
Well, I mean, when Elon Musk has his own social media platform, he can control, or I mean, if he convinces enough people that it wasn't a Nazi salute, but it really was.
100%.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
did that little wink to the white supremacist, neo-fascist Trump supporters.
Right?
Um, but I mean, before long, we'll be able to do it right out in the open.
Yeah. I mean, that's the direction this country's headed right now.
Yeah, I
You know?
mean,
we're practically there. He's practically confessing shit on stage, and we're all
and
sitting there like,
I think it's important to remember, and then I'm done speaking. But I think it's important to remember who participated in this.
Hmm.
Obviously, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg,
Mark Zuckerberg.
Bezos.
and Jeff Bezos. Now we are
Yeah.
beholden to him in many ways. Like, so hard to delete Facebook because like you don't want to like lose contact with people that you haven't talked to in like
Right. That's like
I
the
will have
forever.
only value of
I
it.
will have no
Uh,
problem deleting Facebook.
um,
None at all.
Amazon, like delivers cheap goods fast, and you
All
don't
right,
have to
Amazon's going to
fucking
be a problem because that's
Yeah,
where I
that
go
would be a
Christmas
problem.
shopping.
you don't have to like our country has allowed these monopolies and social media empires to grow, and we can talk about this another time, but
Yeah, for sure.
now we're stuck with their control over us, and it's hard to
Undo
extricate
that?
yourself from that situation.
I mean,
It's the 21st century. We
let's
don't
get
got
real
radio
here.
anymore, do we?
Honestly, I don't have a TV subscription, so yeah. I mean, it's digital all the way, and here we are, coming to you live from the internet or
YouTube.
pre-recorded from the internet. But still, there's going to be a lot of work ahead of us if we can even get to do any of it. And the point of it is to understand where you, as a human being, what you can do to make your situation better. And I think it's behoven to us and everyone else involved to sit and debate these topics and try to show you that, it may seem better, grass may be greener on the other side, but it's not always the case. So, in the next 4 years that we're all going to have to endure, because we're definitely going to have to endure it together, take notes. Take a lot of notes. Any little thing you see, be like, oh, I noticed he wasn't touching Melania's hand the whole time. I noticed she sneers at him all the time. I love that fucking hat she wore that didn't allow him to kiss her face. Anyway,
I'll tell you this much though. You did say a big chunk there where pay attention and take notes
take
because what they
notes.
really should be doing is not
Yeah.
listening to what he's saying. Watch what he does. And
Well,
like I just said,
but see, that's the thing about him. Listen to what he's saying too. Don't listen to the explanations about what
that's
he
true.
says.
But sometimes
Listen
they'll
to
say
what he
one thing and
says
then do the next.
first. Yeah, because usually the initial is the truth. It's like,
That's
I'm not
interesting.
gonna be dictator. Oh, maybe on day one. See, that was that his little quip running back because he had to let it out. He had to let you know that yeah, I'm gonna be dictator. I want to be dictator. I'm gonna dictate everything, and we're gonna see it. And you're gonna be like, well, this is not what I voted for because you weren't paying attention.
Basically.
You were thinking, oh, I want to vote for him because he's cool. I want to vote for him because he's gonna make things cheaper because he said so.
Yeah, he'll say a lot of things. You know? Yeah,
If
so
anything we learned as Americans, politicians' promises mean jack shit.
yeah.
Because that's what you get at the end of it. Jack and shit.
Yep.
So
And like I was
now,
just saying, you're already getting things taken away by the minute. Now,
yeah.
maybe the insulin thing doesn't affect you because you don't need insulin, but it's only a matter of time before he takes something that you care about. That's basically how I see it at this point. May not be this year, may not be next year.
It'll be too late. Yeah, by the time he takes it away, it'll be too late for you.
Yep. So
it's going to take an act of Congress to get it back. So
yeah.
And with that, I am done talking.
Right.
I'm fed up at this point.
Right. Well, usually the way things work in this country is once they're gone, they usually don't come back. Like women's rights for, reproductive purposes, they may never see that again now. So, yeah, this is the new America, folks. I guess this is maybe not all of us, more than likely not all of us, but this is the way I suppose it's going to be for now. That's all we got for this week. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and may God help us all. Peace.
Peace.